All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the May board meeting. It is 7:01 p.m. Our first item on the agenda is to approve the board minutes from the March meeting, as we did not have a regular meeting in April. So, are there any material changes or comments or concerns with the March minutes? All right, I'll go ahead and deem those as approved by unanimous consent. The next item on the agenda is our support group updates. We're going to start with the PTO. Is that Ms. Shield or?
Actually, they
Oh,
asked me to, this has been a busy week for the PTO because it is Staff Appreciation Week. And our PTO presidents have been here on campus all day this entire week. So they've asked if I would just read an update on their behalf. So the BTO presidents are in the process of wrapping up the grant application for the 2024-2025 school year with the campus principals and gearing up for final approvals once the budget is confirmed. They anticipate that they will be able to share the approvals to staff at the end of May. For those who don't know, the PTO sponsors grants to do club startups, classroom activities, new courses. They do a lot of great things, and we're excited to hear what they'll be sponsoring moving into next year. Meanwhile, Staff Appreciation Week is in full swing, and it is a blast from the past with the 90s theme. Just a little side story. I literally walked up the first day and thought a parent had jumped out of their car and was dancing in carpool at the middle school. And it was actually one of our parents who was fantastic, bringing on all the spirit, and they had a DJ. So they've been doing some great stuff. The staff have been treated to an array of breakfast treats, a charcuterie spread, a DIY trail mix, a catered rice bowl buffet, and tomorrow is ice baby frozen treats. It's fantastic to hear much the staff is enjoying the activities, and the event is always a highlight for the PTO at this time of year, where they are pumping up the volume in appreciation for our amazing staff. Over at the elementary school, plans are underway for the end of the year ceremonies for kindergarten, the Rising Up ceremonies, fourth grade, Moving On Up ceremony in partnership with grade level teams. At the middle school, the media center refresh is in the works, and we anticipate completion the first week in May. The Spirit Wear clearance sale is set for Thursday, May 9th from 8:30 to 2:30 at the Field House. And please keep an eye out for details of the third annual Summer Bash scheduled for Wednesday, July 10th. The PTO is also actively working on Parent Ambassador Buddy Family Program, set to roll out again this summer. Buddy family assignments were made at the end of May, so stay tuned for more information. And last but not least, the PTO is looking forward to partnering with Community Relations to provide the end of the year staff lunch, which is set for Tuesday, May 28th. And Nikki, Jamila, and Kim all wish us a happy summer. And as you can see, the PTO has been rocking it this entire year. Huge thanks to the number of parent volunteers. There's so many of them that have been here tirelessly throughout the year, and especially this week. And a special thank you to all of our presidents.
all right, great. Fun little fact about me, which made me tomorrow's theme, Ice Baby. That is my go-to karaoke song. So little fun fact. And it always brings the house down, I will say. I haven't done it in a while, but but love to bust that out. Um Okay, next would be our athletic boosters. I don't see Mr. Schlegel. I know that there is a soccer game going on. So is there someone who is doing the athletic boosters? Oh, here. Okay.
Share a mic. No, Mr. Schlegel, I think, is planning on coming in, so maybe we can go to the next report and then we'll come back to that if he's able to join us.
Perfect. Okay. We'll head on to old business. We're gonna flip it up. Let's start with the Thrive, because the IDENA, Ms. Chapman, is unwell tonight. So we're gonna decide who's gonna give that report. So I'm gonna start with Thrive tonight. Mr. Eastwood, if you want to give that update.
Um, Thank you. That way we come into next year with awareness for our community as to what's happening, when's happening, and we can get community support in terms of speakers attending our sessions. Right?
Okay, I'll start with the really good news. We had a good session. We're working on the Knights of Distinction Award. And our Rockstar High School student Joy Atwell assisted us with a pilot project that went really well, and she made a great presentation to kind of work us through the criteria and made some adjustments on that feedback. And I think that's looking like we're ready to go and implement that in 24 and 25. And we talked about this last time. Of course, that involves recognition of graduation, the chords, the whole deal. Poster and the Knights. No. Yep. There you go. Also continuing to work on the Knights of Honor revamp, focus on getting more attention to that, which is going very well. The bad news, well, not bad news. We tried standing on business, and we're not going to be standing on business. It's we gave the opportunity on a little beta test, and didn't seem to be much interest in that from the students, but we learned from that, and we'll move on to the next. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. And apparently I was just so distracted by the karaoke story that I skipped the state school report. But so we're gonna go back. I saw Mr. Schlegel come in, so we're gonna let him do his report first, then we're gonna go back to business I skipped over. And then we'll finish off with IDE&A. So
I appreciate that. I'm sorry. Wow, we have senior night and literally just finished and I got caught by 5 parents on the way up. So, spring seasons are coming to a conclusion. But this is the best part of the year. It's playoff time. So, middle school ended last week, had successful year. This past year, middle school did not have any championships. That was something the conference decided due to field space, official availability. So we've actually played a couple extra games in place of that tournament. I would love to bring them back. I got outvoted, but I'm sure it's going to come back up in the future to get those tournaments back. I know the kids and the coaches and the parents, everyone loved the tournament. So middle school's done. Successful, great 2023-24 year. Right now we're in playoff season. Besides soccer still has one more week left of regular season. Senior night tonight. Men's and women's lacrosse have their first round games tomorrow at home. Baseball is in their championship game for conference tonight at East Rowan. Track is at J.M. Robinson tonight for their championship meet for the conference. Tennis just won their first round of playoffs yesterday. They're going to the second round. Softball, unfortunately, had a rebuilding year, but finished very strong. They did not make the playoffs. They lost in the first round of conference playoffs. But Miss Norris, Coach Norris, is going to do great things. Young team, so I'm excited to watch her continue to build that program. And I believe, the golf program, we have a team going to regionals Monday. So they'll be partaking in regionals on Monday to see how they do. And hopefully as a team, they can advance. If not, maybe some of the boys individually can advance the states the following week. So other than that, just a very busy, crazy time of year, not only in the athletic world, but obviously academic. You can see all the plays and everything going on this time of year. So really excited to see the conclusion, see how we do, and then see how the Wells Fargo points end up at the end of the year and see if we can be up in the top 3 as usual, because we have a strong athletic program. I am going to be getting an email out shortly. We are in need of coaches for the fall, especially on the middle school side. We've lost 3 middle school coaches. Not to do with anything Lake Norman charter driven, just more life and, where they are in life. So I'm going to be getting that out to our staff first. If I don't get any bites from the staff, then I usually go to Schoology and start getting feelers out with parents and people that may have kids on the team and see if they have club coaches that would be interested. So that will be coming shortly as well. So that's about it.
okay, thank you. Good luck to all the teams that are continuing on to the playoffs or finishing their regular season. Looking forward to hopefully some great news in the June meeting about that. Now we're going to move on to the state school report. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Stein for that.
Thank you. And yes, this is a very dynamic time, so don't feel bad. We're all just holding it together, but it's all great stuff at the end of the school year. I want to give a particular shout out to our club advisors, our coaches, and my admin team. Just tonight on this campus, there was a middle school play, there was a concert over on the high school. The seniors are doing some activity, the soccer's got their, and that's pretty much every night in May. That's how that goes, whether it's moving on up ceremonies, second grade performances. It's the culmination of all the great stuff that happens. And so it's really exciting. It's fun stuff, but it's a lot going on at any given time. And I'm sure our parents feel it too. So we're glad to celebrate together, but I'm sure everybody's looking forward to a fun summer ahead. So a couple of fun things just to share. First of all, we had our first teacher of the year announced. We're going to have two more, but we had our first one, and that is our high school teacher of the year, Miss Angela Massengale. So if anybody knows Miss Massengale, she is a fantastic, phenomenal teacher, and we are really excited to learn who the two other teachers are going to be. The middle school and elementary school one will be coming up here. Actually one tomorrow and then one coming up in next week or a couple weeks. So it's going to be awesome, and I'll come back and announce those when they happen. I do want to share, we have been in partnership with Novant Health and Dr. Danielle Graham for the past 3 years to provide mental health support to our students above and beyond what our counselors can do. And what was really nice with Dr. Graham is she would help us to make bridges for families, because sometimes finding appropriate mental health care for your children, it can be difficult. She was also helpful. We've had some parent and student loss throughout that time. So she's been great, and they're continuing to see expansions in their program. So she's heading back towards Novant, but we have a new partnership with Atrium Health, and it's going to be a virtual mental health support where students will actually be able to use telehealth to get virtual mental health support here on campus. And what's great about that is they specialize in adolescent health, and it's less time out of the classroom. And you guys know that as parents, that's very difficult to leave your work, come to campus, check them out, get them where they need to go back, drop them off. It's disruptive, and sometimes it's been a barrier for kids to be able to get the support they need. This telehealth, they're going to be able to do it right here on campus with minimal impact. So we're excited to take that as the next bridge. And they have been successfully partnered in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area for a while. So they have a great proven track record. And we've been very impressed with some of the support that they're going to be able to provide. Another celebration, as the board saw on their board notes, Lake Norman Charter again scored in the top 4% of all high schools in the nation, being recognized by U.S. World and News Report. What's interesting about that, and I did provide some context in your board packet, is that process has started to evolve in how they're assessing schools. And so I'll keep you updated. But as Mr. Smith would say, I know if he was here, a huge shout out to our high school teachers. They are phenomenal, but they also know that they're able to do what they can do because our K-8 teachers are so strong in that foundation. So it really is a collective award and a nice recognition for both our teachers and our students who work so hard to be well-rounded and do a good job. Kudos to all of our end of the year band, choir, and drama performances. It was great to see drama reappear. We've had some great performances. I got a chance to see both the high school and the middle school. They had two performances, two different plays, and it was really neat. The kids did a phenomenal job, and it was something that was missed. So we're happy that there's been some dedicated staff that have brought that back for our students to be able to participate. Another shout out to our third grade teachers. We have in the state, it's called Read to Achieve, and certain students have to meet certain benchmarks to be able to pass out of third grade for Read to Achieve. And there are things, beginning of the year tests, other tests that they could do throughout the year using MAPS data and other things. Mel is our resident expert if anybody wants to ask. But out of 124 students, 120 have already qualified and they haven't even taken their EOG. So they've already met the benchmark that's necessary for them to move on. So that shows the quality of instruction and support that those third graders are getting and how seriously they take it. And so the last few we are confident are going to be able to, with additional support, get there. So that's a great reflection. And lastly, excited about our upcoming graduation, which is going to be held at the Atrium Ballpark again in Kannapolis. That is on Friday, May 24th at 8 p.m. So I always want to just let the community know it's a lot of fun. There's fireworks, which aren't a surprise anymore. And we've been very lucky with weather, so knocking on real wood that will happen again. And it sets, yeah. And tomorrow, hey, can you hand that microphone to Miss Skyer? We're gonna put her on the spot. Tomorrow is senior day. So can you tell us some of the activities? Because they've added all
Yes.
kinds of cool activities. That's a great way to end.
Well, I will start my day at 5:45 when I guide the Third Eye coffee truck over towards the practice field because the kids will be showing up at 6 a.m. for a senior sunrise that they have put together. I don't know, things to take pictures and stuff in. So they're very excited about that. Then at 7:15, they'll move on up and they will have breakfast and they will chalk the walk. And we have all sorts of donuts and muffins and whatnot. And then we will do a parade through the high school with the drum line and come on over here to the middle school and do a parade through here. We have these fancy streamers that are going to be thrown at them whenever they go through. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Then they'll go back and take group pictures and individual pictures in the gym and they'll get their yearbooks. Then we'll go on down to the field where we have organized games with prizes. We have pizza. We have all sorts of junk food and lots of water and Gatorade and music. And we have a drawing every hour on the hour for these really big baskets with all sorts of stuff to like start your life. And I have about 80 gift cards. I'm also gonna just raffle off. And then they end the day with popsicles and the NPR. So, and then I'll go home and sleep.
Yeah. Thank you to Miss Skyer and to Miss Casillas, who helped to lead all of the senior activities. And I know they have support from a lot of other staff when it comes to actual graduation and even these activities, but they are really the ones who spearhead and do all of the planning and work with senior class council. So I think that's the biggest senior day. There's lots of new stuff that we've not tried before, so it's going to be really fun for them. And that's all we have.
Thank you. Well, that was worth going back for sure. All right, now we're gonna go back and pick up IDE and A. Ms. Stein is gonna provide that for the update since Ms. Chapman is unwell. So,
You betcha.
you've got the
I
microphone.
do. I got the microphone. Even is working. So this was our last meeting of the year, and it was great. We had most of the members be able to be there, and we talked about some of the things that came from the survey and some of the plans and things that we're going to be moving into for next year. So one of the things that was discussed was there was some feedback on the survey in regards to bullying, harassment, and what that looked like, and some of the feedback. And there was some really good discussion about some of the initiatives that are occurring at all three levels, elementary, middle, and high, but especially at the middle school, because as we know, kids at middle school, they're trying to figure out who they are. And sometimes when they're trying to figure out who they are, it's also who they're not. And if you know middle schoolers, they can be very sweet, and sometimes they're not as sweet as they could and should be. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and it felt like there was a real opportunity to communicate with parents what some of these efforts are at the different levels, so that they understand, and not only what we're trying to do to prevent, but also where to get assistance and how to report and how to make sure that somebody doesn't have to feel like if something is happening that they don't have the support that is needed. So that is something we'll be looking at going into next year. We have a couple of students that represent on the IDA committee. They're invaluable. Their insight of like what happens from the student lens is really helps the committee to to figure out what the best way to address and move forward and where there's passions. 16 students applied to join the committee. The committee has discussed expanding from 2 to 4 students because their input has been so valuable. 2 of them will be the presidents of the Student Diversity and Inclusion Council. That's how we've picked them in the past. So that those 2 positions will continue to exist. And then there'll be 2 other ad hoc positions. So the Student Diversity and Inclusion Council will review the applications, and they're going to be making the selections for the ad hoc for that. So we'll look forward to welcoming those new students moving into next year. And then this was Women's History Month at the high school. They did a high school panel of 8 diverse members. So obviously all women, but with different background, ages, experience, you know, every racial, ethnic, cultural backgrounds. And they asked all of those women different questions and had a really good turnout by students. Women's History Month was discussed at Drop Everything and Talk at the middle school. And Miss North Carolina came to the elementary and read to the elementary students, along with highlighting some of the contributions that she's making through her service and leadership in the state. So that was what was going on for Women's History Month. And then the committee under Mary Ann's tutelage will be sending out an end of the year communication to families regarding all the things that have happened. And when we started reflecting on those, it was a lot. So it's going to be fun for everybody to see some of the great things that have been happening to increase belonging and helping our students to find a place here at LNC.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our old business. Our new business would be a draft of the 2024-2025 student handbook.
Yes. So the handbook, there aren't a whole lot of suggested changes for the board. In your board notes, you will see highlights of what those are. And that wasn't there. I didn't print off the whole handbook because it's kind of meaty when you put it in print form. But I did have it pulled up in case we need to look at any of the language here tonight. But really the notable things, there was a lot around AI. We had a committee this year that was the AI Standards Committee. And I think this is really important for the board to know. And I think I've mentioned it before, but just it's worth reiterating. AI is confusing. It's all coming through our job. I'm sure if you type on your Gmail, it fills your sentences in for you. There's all these resources. It's a great tool if people know how to use it properly. The problem with it right now is that we have not set any guidelines to what proper usage is. So if I go and I have my homework assignment and I put it all into Chat GPT and turn that in, is that cheating? I don't know, right? We haven't set those standards. So that's what the handbook addresses next year, is it addresses some of those standards. And to be more important, it isn't about a gotcha. It's really about helping students and most importantly, parents as well, to understand how is AI going to be used as a tool, and how as educators are we going to be clear about when it's appropriate and when it's not. So the Standards Committee has developed a guideline for what that looks like. And there will literally be a poster in every classroom, grades 4 through 12. And it will say, here are 4 levels of AI usage: no AI, AI assist, AI directed, full AI. And then each of the teachers, one of their professional developments is going to be to develop some lessons so that they fully understand it and can explain it to their kids. And then it also helps kids, that poster prompts them, because AI is rather new. You still have responsibility as the student learner, even if it's an AI usage, to make sure that what you're using is accurate, it's doing what you want, it's factual. I'm sure we've all seen stories, and quite honestly, I've had it happen. AI will fill in gaps. So I hate to say AI is lying, but sometimes AI is not accurate because it's taking what it can, and it'll get better and better. So it's up to the student to figure out how to do that, and teachers will help to guide them. Because quite honestly, when they're going off into the next world, and that's part of what Future Ready will be for our committee, is they need to know how to use AI as a tool. You can't just say no AI ever, because then they're not going to be prepared. So again, there's words in, or there's language in the handbook, but that is actually to support this larger idea of what and how are we going to use AI in a responsible way? The other probably bigger thing that's in there is sadly, there's a lot more drug derivatives that we're seeing out there. And we need to have language that is inclusive of those drug derivatives. It's a tough time because things don't look the way they were, but they can be quite dangerous. And we want to make sure that there's guardrails and understanding of what's acceptable and what's not in a school environment. So those are the large things. There's a few small things at the building, which I've listed in there. But that's really the notable changes that you will find in the handbook. Otherwise, it's pretty much the way it was.
Okay, so tonight the board will need to take a vote to approve the draft copy of the student handbook so that it is ready to go for the 2024-2025 school year. So, I will entertain a motion to approve the draft handbook as written.
This is great. I make a motion that we adopt the changes to the 24-25 student handbook.
Do I have a second?
This is Jared, a second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll conclude our agenda for tonight. The board will be moving into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6. So do I have a motion to move into closed session according to that statute?
This is Greg, so moved.
Okay, do I have a second? Second, Mr. McCall. Okay, all right, we will move into closed session at 7:27.